Okay, there we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the BTS Pro Series 10. We are getting underway here with Game 4 of our best of 5 grand final, fourth match between Thunder Awaken and 4Zoomers. Thunder Awaken up 2-1 in this series, one more win away from bringing this one to an end and claiming that status as Pro Series 10 champions. Meanwhile, for 4Zoomers, backs against the wall. Gonna have to pull something out here. That IO gyrocopter that they tried to swing in Game 3 did not quite go their way. So, well, we'll see what else they can come up with here as we dive into the draft. I'm joined, as always, by ET, and ET4Zoomers are going to start with Tiny. Meanwhile, for Thunder Awaken, the Snapfire, and an Ogre pick that we really have not gotten to see today.
Yeah, and they certainly rush it a little bit. Do Force Swimmers just pick Chen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go. For the first time in the series, Thunder Awaken move away from the Chen LD bans and instead let it through, banning out the Ember Spirit in its stead, which completely agree with. Think if they're still going to go for the first pick Tiny no matter what. As long as Thunder Awaken are not banning out Tiny when their opponents have first pick, they're going to just simply take it. And there, I think Thunder Awaken, they have to have an answer. They have to look for it later. I would be very surprised if 4Zoomers don't ban out the Timber Saw. I think that's very, very smart for them, but I do wonder now what we're going to see Sacred play, or if it is just going to be the Sacred Snapfire, because this is one of the few situations where, well, of course, Matthew has many more heroes to play, but it's always paired up with that Ember Spirit in the first phase, even though it still is hard to call whether or not it's going to be Matthew or Sacred on that snap. You almost want it to be Sacred on the Snapfire, because he is just such a monster. Maybe they look for a hero like the Tusk later on in the draft, but I do think that Thunder Awaken have shown very little with their opening, but double support early on is not really something you really do anymore. And it's something that I think maybe we'll have to see if 4Zoomers can start to spin it. The problem, of course, is that with all the cores not being picked up just yet on Thunder Awaken's side, there's a wide hero pool that you need to ban out. You need to be very selective here. It makes your draft just a little bit harder to pull off, but that's where if you're 4Zoomers, can imagine they're going to look for a Skywrath, can imagine they're going to look for more burst with the Tiny. They're just going to pair it very nicely here. And maybe Nyx Assassin. We'll see.
We will see. For now, though, 4Zoomers, their bans are coming out almost instantly. The Timber Saw was a pretty quick decision. Now we see the TA taken out the second that the sort of turn gets passed over to them. So they know exactly what they want to avoid at the moment. Timber and TA, obviously very dangerous, very popular. All the reason to get them out of there. But on the Thunder Awaken side, you see them taking a little bit more time to think this one through. That Pugna ban is a very interesting one. We have not seen that hero at all in this series, but they know that their opponents do tend to throw it into some of those lineups, and this is where we start to see things shift a little bit, right? As we get into the back end of this best of 5, you start looking at some of those other heroes.
Yeah, and this is also where I like the Beastmaster ban. Of course, there is that movement of the Tiny, and without the Timber Saw actually picked up here, we could actually see it go into the hands of Costa Bio. I think once the Timber Saw is picked, that Tiny is immediately shifted out of that position. You can't really make that matchup work for you pretty much ever. But that's also where, with Thunder Awaken banning out the Beastmaster, I feel like they need to go for a Nyx Assassin or something, but whoa, that is very, very different. A hero picked up actually in Dubai, but that was really in response to the Death Prophet, if anything. You're playing versus a Chen, so that's an interesting answer, but this is also kind of out of left field here, especially if this is probably going to be a Dark Mago Doom.
Yeah, that's going to be the question here. Where do they look to run this? Because you say it might be a Dark Mago Doom. That could work, but if they want to preserve the Sacred Snapfire play, then I think they could try to run Matthew on this hero. And you basically sacrifice any sort of significant playmaking on the Doom just for his ability to be annoying and try and get in there for the Doom play onto someone. But if you do that, then, like I said, you basically don't have a lot of initiation from your support duo, so they may not look in that direction, may just put it in a core position, but this is definitely something on the 4Zoomers side that they're going to have to think about, because if 4Zoomers were expecting a Doom here, then they can just see into the future, because I don't really think there was a whole lot to call this one.
Yeah, and I'm thinking what they go for, and yeah, it's simply the Nyx Assassin. I'm really surprised Thunder Awaken didn't take it, just because we know how good the Nyx plays versus the Snapfire, plays even better versus the Doom, because you have that Scorched Earth going all the time. It's a very easy target to find your way onto. There was another option in the back of my mind. Whenever you see the Doom picked up, you always think of perhaps taking Medusa just because you have the mana shield on. You don't really feel too broken up about it. But whoa,
Hmm.
they take it in a completely other direction. But now we've got an empowered Tiny. Now Thunder Awaken have some problems coming into these core matchups.
Yeah, this is going to be a big issue for them. As you said, the empowered Tiny is going to be an issue. The mag with the RP is always something that they're going to have to watch out for. And especially with the Snapfire on their team now, you don't always have that sort of space to work with, right? The Nyx Assassin was already going to be an issue. Now there's a mag with a skewer, with a shockwave, with an RP who can just sort of get right up on top of you. So not really sure how they address these issues right now, but Thunder Awaken certainly have their work cut out for them. And well, that doesn't necessarily clarify a whole lot for the Thunder Awaken side, but with the Earthshaker coming in, certainly gives them some lockdown and some teamfight strength.
They're so tanky on Thunder Awaken's side. They are really setting themselves up to be very robust heroes. But I know I mentioned it in the previous draft where we saw this Earthshaker, but I feel like this is going to be a Dark Mago Earthshaker. And I do agree with you. Matthew has been playing a melee 4 position pretty much the entire tournament. Maybe not the hero that I would have selected, but something that maybe dissuaded them from going for the Nyx steal, or maybe moving away from that, was just because Nyx Assassin versus Creeps is notably bad. And I think that's where maybe the Doom makes a little bit more sense here. But I am almost certain that this is going to be a Snapfire going into the hands of Sacred. And then I feel like this is going to be a Dark Mago Earthshaker, which is a lot of fun because he gets the Ags, he gets the Blink Dagger, he starts making plays around the map. I also would love to see what now they're going to ban out to secure the lane. At least I think they should. But what Gunner is going to end up playing versus it, because it is a little bit of a free lane. I think there's a little bit of kill potential once that Earthshaker just hit 6, but it's also where I think Gunner could have a pretty free time depending on what his last choice is. Like the Invoker ban, I think the last time I saw Thunder Awaken run this, or I think they were still Thunder Predator back then, the Invoker just stops everything the Earthshaker wants to do. You don't have enough mana. It's a really miserable matchup, so I think maybe some experience there, but this is also something that Thunder Awaken haven't run in a very long time here. Do you think this is the tech they were talking about? The one time we talked to Panda Boo, that maybe the Doom Earthshaker is what's going to be the name of the meta? I guess we'll have to see if they win this game, but I'm very excited to have this come back, especially in such an important game.
Listen, if that's what Panda was trying to sort of key us in on back then, it went completely over my head. But we'll see. I mean, this would be quite a way to close out the series if they make it work, but that's assuming that they can make this work, and that's assuming we know exactly who's going where. They could still sort of shake things up on us, but regardless of what's happening with the sort of Matthew and Dark Mago situation here, Thunder Awaken should be absolutely looking for Pikaza's hero on the back end here. And that's where Four Zoomers were really just concentrating their bans. The Lifestealer and the Razor, both heroes that have situationally proven their worth. I don't know if this is exactly one of those situations, but Four Zoomers don't want to take the chance.
Yeah, and well, the Lifestealer and the Razor, they both lean more heavily into Costabile actually taking this Tiny, but there is flexibility here. If they really want to, especially if they assume that this Earthshaker is going to be in the mid lane, then they send the Tiny mid, they give it to Gunner, and then that's an even matchup. That's both mid laners looking for Blink Daggers very early on.
Oh.
And yeah, they take the Medusa. That's the... We're going to get eliminated right here. We need Medusa. This is going to be a lot safer, and Costabile wasn't too happy when he played it every single game for a very different team, but that's your hero that's always going to feel very nice into Doom, where suddenly you don't have very much control for her, you don't have a lot of damage whenever the mana shield comes down, and it also plays very nicely into the Earthshaker, especially if Costabile can get an Aghanim Scepter. That's a wrench into the works right now, and one that Thunder Awaken really have to work hard to fix pretty soon here. What carry do they look for Picaz now?
I mean, a Diffusal Carrier would be nice. Something like the Ursa, maybe. Do they look at something along the lines of the PL or the Naga Siren at this point? Or do you have... Well, Four Zoomers don't have a crazy amount of AoE, I suppose. You do have to maybe worry about the mag catching you with the RP, and your Tiny's going to have that sort of avalanche, but maybe that's the play. Get someone who's going to buy the Diffusal, get durable with a heart purchase, and maybe that's enough to go toe-to-toe with the Dusa.
Yeah, it's hard to say. For all we know, he could just pick PA yet again, and I think it would be a very solid pickup. And
Oh,
okay, TB versus Medusa, Game 4 elimination, 4 Zoomers with a Magnus. This is very different, but yep, that's all you need to see. Dark Mago's in the shaker. We're
yep.
in for a treat.
Mago on the shaker. Sacred will take the snap. So it is going to be Matthew on the Doom. But we'll see really what he can do. Might need some sort of movement item there. Blink, Force Staff, I don't know. But something to get those Dooms in place, because as a support, I'm fairly certain 4 Zoomers aren't just going to let him waltz up to them and drop a Doom on one of their cores. But we shall see. In the meantime, 4 Zoomers a little bit shy. There we go. Costabile will be taking the Deuce as we expected. Do want to see what they do with the Tiny and the Mag, though, because Gunnar could realistically play either one.
Yeah, and it would be really fun to see Gunnar actually take up that Magnus because, of course, Moo has played Tiny pretty much the entire tournament, and I think that's where they're going to do the swap up, and it makes a lot of sense. It's hard to pull the Mag out of Moo's hand, but it's also where the Tiny with the base damage, he is surely going to be able to blast hit a little bit easier versus the Tiny, not really going to get shut out or pressured up nearly as much. The only concern is, well, there is going to be an Ogre and a TB in the same lane, so when it comes to finding kills, there is not going to be a lot of aggression, or at least a lot of failed aggression, I think, coming in from the 4 Zoomer side. As well as 4 Zoomers really need to dodge out these lanes. They need to figure out where Matthew is playing and then hope he doesn't swap up because he is just going to be an absolute pest for Husky to deal with. And I think maybe this is their easy solution to deal with the Chen, but that's also where I think they're going to continuously fight for finding those landing setups that they're happy with, because otherwise, a Husky might have the saddest Chen game he's had so far in the tournament.
Yeah, which, well, to this point, just about all of his Chen games have been pretty damn impressive, so it wouldn't take too much to earn that title, but you are hoping to just kind of shut him down entirely. We'll see if Matthew has the genius plan here, or if this Doom has issues. I think outside of the laning stage, he might have some issues really regardless, just because position 4 Doom is really not much of a thing meta-wise, but, well, the patch dropped and Matthew went back onto a position 4 Ember Spirit that really hadn't been a thing for quite some time. So he is used to breaking the mold, bringing back some heroes from the grave, at least in terms of hero in position, because the Ember was popular, just not at the 4, but we'll see if now he can blaze a trail for Doom pickers moving forward.
Yeah, dirty, dirty Doom pickers who have more net worth than their offlaner, but we'll have to see. I can only imagine Husky's going to make his way down bottom, just so that way Moo isn't underneath that much pressure. And I feel like in doing so, we might see Matthew immediately try to switch it up. And you already see Matthew actually getting ready and blocking up this bottom camp. I do wonder if Matthew's maybe going to wait to get a few levels before rotating, but I can only imagine that with the Devour, he's just going to try and be as obnoxious as he can. Unfortunately, though, as much as a nuisance as it could be, especially if Husky is very attached to his creep, Holy Persuasion is a much shorter cooldown than the level 1 Devourer, so it's not like he's going to be hopeless with the Chen. He just might get countered out every time he tries to make a more aggressive move.
There is some heavy high-fiving going down here on the Thunder Awaken side, ET. Just thought I'd let you know about that, because you always got to get that high-five advantage. That is the key. League of Legends has the skin advantage. We have the high-five advantage.
Somebody needs to help him.
Oh, no? Ooh. Well, okay, they blew it. Doesn't matter how many high-fives you get before. If you miss one, it's all over. But in terms of, you know, actual Dota, it is going to be a 2-2 split on the bounty runes, and let us see where Matthew looks to go here. He's got the boots first, so this is not going to be really the longest trip in the world for him, but he is starting to make his way up top.
Yeah, and I'm really surprised that they're actually going to go for this. I feel like maybe it is an aspect of just having the strength of Ogre and TB laning together that they want to try and push this towards their advantage in the bottom lane, but I could also see it being that Matthew wants a few levels before he's actually able to move in and help his Chen out. At the same time, I think Sacred's going to greatly appreciate having a 4 with boots in his lane, just able to really stop anything that Z-Freak tries to do here, because you look over at Z-Freak, these are not Nick's starting items. These are, I'm playing 5, I need to give my Medusa really a lot of regen in the lane, and it just means that Matthew, he's going to block up the camps, he's going to look for couriers, he's going to look for the bounty rune. Z-Freak is really playing at a pretty heavy disadvantage right now.
Yeah, and The thing about this mana burn is that Matthew doesn't really care about it, to be honest. I mean, Devour is incredibly cheap. It's the only spell he's got at the moment, so he can just sort of push forward, take advantage of that right-click damage, and try to be obnoxious, and you actually see him going for the side pull here is going to be able to get it. So doing everything in his power right now to make this lane uncomfortable for your Medusa, and this is something that so often we really don't see from a lot of teams. Early pressure onto the Medusa is incredibly hard to come by.
Yeah, it's very difficult, especially if you can get kind of the support life going. Unfortunately, Z-Freak doesn't have a small camp just yet, and I can only imagine Matthew's going to continue to be annoying, but Matthew actually picked up the Tornado. We'll have to see if that's from the, I want to say the small creeps, because they did switch around the spells, so the big ones have the pushback, and the small ones actually have the real Tornado, but it's also a little bit buffed as a spell. It actually persists after the channel just a little bit longer. Small change, but it does mean that there's actually a shred more damage that you can play with.
We'll see if Matthew looks to use that. It is a very expensive spell, and Doom doesn't exactly have the biggest mana pool in the world, but would look to get a little bit of extra in on that front. Meanwhile, looking over to the middle lane, Gunner, there's going to be that play again. See that all the time from the Yuma mag. Dark Mago takes a lot of damage. He did have a Water Rune bottled up, though, and he's going to grab a second one, so it is a nice play from Gunner, but it's damage that your Earthshaker is largely going to be able to sort of walk off here and just keep himself in the lane. So if you're Gunner, that's the play you have to make, really. You have to just continuously look for that maneuver, but that time around at least, it's not quite going to stick the way he wanted it to.
Yeah, and I really am just waiting for this early game to be over. I want to see what Dark Mago queues up, if it is going to be the Ags play, or if he instead says that I need the Blink Dagger, I need to play with my team a little bit, and I certainly agree with him to a certain extent. He definitely has a slower playmaker in the Snapfire top, just needs a way more farm to get off the ground as opposed to like Amara's, but I think that's also where Dark Mago always has something in store for us. For all I know, he could be rushing Orchid on the hero.
Matthew, meanwhile, actually made his way down to the bottom lane, and he does have that Frost attack, so he's got the slow to work with, but this is just going to be that switch up that you were sort of alluding to. Matthew comes bot, they send the Ogre up top, so well, we'll see how much Matthew can do here. He's got to be a little bit careful, because Moo sort of wrapping around the other side, but more concerned with the creeps than they are with the Doom itself.
Yeah, just barely. Sentries actually miss each other, so it's, I want to say, a little bit unfortunate, especially if we do see Husky really run low on these creeps. And creeps are a finite resource. Even though the cooldown is 15 seconds, if Matthew can get his really best pickup, and he is going to look to take the Ghost again if Husky has it too far up in the lane, it's going to be a big win. But this is also just coming at the cost of Because not really getting shut down. He doesn't even have a point in the meta yet, because he really hasn't been under all too much pressure. He feels pretty happy with his laning partner and his laning situation. Even though Moo tried for the tossback, but wasn't able to get it on the Doom.
But much like the mag in the middle lane, you know, you just always have to kind of be looking for that. Even if it doesn't always net you a kill, just need to try and do something to address that. As top lane, Sacred able to get the play onto Z-Freak. Panda, well, provides a little bit in the way of immediate lockdown compared to the Doom that was up here earlier. So, under Awaken able to strike first. First blood on the board. Meanwhile, Dark Mago actually pushes all the way forward to grab that bounty rune. So, rune control is pretty important for the Earthshaker as opposed to Gunner, who still has a bottle, but we haven't really seen the same level of emphasis from him in terms of maneuvering into the river.
No, and we'll have to see how he wants to play. Of course, he's a mid-mag. He's going to look for his treads, probably going to look for the Echo Saber afterwards, just so he has enough damage, but that's where this top lane, they just keep on making passes at Costa Bile. He's able to walk this one off, but it's certainly a little bit of an annoyance that Because isn't dealing with on the other side, so pretty big whiff.
Well, Matthew, not able to get away from that final right-click. Husky takes him down, so, well, they are getting pressured up top, but at least your Medusa's still alive, whereas on the other side of the map, Matthew just not quite tanky enough to walk away from that one. But because, I mean, he loses his support, that is unfortunate, but look at just how much he's getting out of this lane, really. And you mentioned before, didn't have to put points into the meta. He does so now just so that he can continue to farm, and there really isn't a whole lot to be done against him. In fact, Husky just sort of pushing out of the lane, trying to make his way mid, as he will deny an illusion rune. Okay. solid play on that front, but I don't know. It's going to be a tough situation if you're going to allow this Terrorblade to just sort of free farm for an extended amount of time. But in fairness to Four Zoomers, you look at their own cores, they're all still sitting pretty high up there themselves. So it's not like this TB is massively ahead of anyone.
Nope, certainly not, and especially Moo, who's really playing very well. Has a null talisman again, which is kind of cool. Really gave up on the bracer. He had a bracer and a null on his previous game, but I think that's where maybe the tiny... I almost draw the line on the tiny, I'll be honest. That one feels a little bit weird, but at the same time, getting some more mana regen, but yeah, they keep on putting way more pressure onto Costabile. Of course, he's still farming very nicely. He has the Mystic Snake, and Z-Freak is really leaning hard into this mana burn, which is super hard to deal with, but is Husky dead? He's certainly not out, but this is...
It's a very strange series of events. Matthew coming in with the Infernal Blade. Looks like Dark Mega will get the follow-up stun, and they will get the kill. So that's a funky one. That chase starts pretty much all the way back here on the ramp by the tier 2, and very nearly gets back to the wave bottom before they finish it off. But it is a kill, and it's a kill into Dark Mego's hands as well. His first kill of the game, and while he was going after that kill, Panda got to maybe sap a little bit of experience mid. So if you can get that Ogre, maybe an extra level or two, Panda is going to have a lot more in terms of lockdown to work with. So Thunder Awaken trying to be efficient with their time. The only problem is you take Panda out of the top lane, it means that the Medusa can sort of breathe a little bit more easily.
Yeah, Costabile gets to move away. Unfortunately for him, it's where you do pair the Medusa alongside the Nyx Assassin. Both these heroes want their levels. Costabile can't jungle without them, and Z-Freak can't make plays with Vendetta without it, and they're making the kind of the long play over here. He has mangoes if he needs the Impale, and it will just pop one immediately, but it's still a pretty big win for Dark Mago. Unfortunately, the rune does spawn bottom, and Husky just denies it, but he's coming up pretty quickly on his Blink Dagger here. He's certainly getting out-farmed maybe a little bit by Gunnar, but Gunnar actually used his timing to push that bottom tower and certainly gets it for free with Moo.
Able to claim the objective there. So, Four Zoomers still out to slight lead here early on as... Okay, Panda runs into Z-Freak in the jungle, but that's not really a fight he wants to take by himself. But Z-Dark Mako coming in... but he'll see the stack, and yeah, that is probably more valuable than the next kill, but they are going to go for it. The Echo Slam has to be committed there, and... Well, okay. That's an Echo Slam used, but not really a whole lot more. It does get him the stack, I guess, but it's a weird series of events there as Dark Mago then backs away.
Yeah, now unfortunately, Dark Mago's about to get his Blink Dagger when he doesn't have Echo Slam for 2 minutes, so maybe comes at a little bit of an awkward time. I think now he just needs to make a play with Sacred, if anyone. He doesn't have the damage from himself, so he needs to set up the Snapfire instead, which is probably where we're going to see Sacred rotate out of top, but that's where, with Moo coming in to greet him, this is a very easy kill. They have the lane ward, same lane ward they placed in the previous game, and Sacred, you got to be so careful. Panda's about to run interference as well, but I think Sacred might just be a little bit too far away, but...
Oh, the cookie!
Whoa.
What great timing from Panda. Gets in, gets the stun, that prevents the Tiny from getting the follow-up immediately. And then Sacred jumps out of range and out of the line of fire for the Impale, as they will survive the attempt top. Now mid is a problem, because Dark Mago's, he's getting hit up pretty quickly. He's going to try to bottle, but can't get it. Husky will find the kill, and honestly... That's bigger than getting Sacred. Big kill onto Dark Mago, and Panda... No, I don't think he's going to be in any danger here, but now Costabile wants to get hits onto the tower. It's got to be a response from the Thunder Awaken side.
Yeah, and, well, for Zoomers, they're 3k ahead of their opponents right now. Husky has farmed so much. He has a full mech and RP.
Connecting onto 2. Moo got stunned up, so he's not going to immediately follow it, but look at Z-Freak. In with the Impale, into the Spike Carapace as well, keeping both of those heroes locked down. Thunder Awaken lose 2 heroes. They might lose their tower as well, but Moo gets off the toss. They're going to pull the Ogre back into this fight, but Dark Mago, big stun. Comes out with the Fissure. Moo's still going to chase it, but doesn't quite have the damage to finish that kill off. Gunnar, though, goes in. Shockwave, also not going to be enough.
No, but they can do this, even though they don't get the kill onto Panda. And, of course, he had Stick Charges, he had Fairy Fires, he gets to walk away. They know that there's no Echo Slam. They're just playing in that timing. They know that they can move around, and because has to evacuate bottom now because they do cut so deep into his jungle. Thunder Awaken, they need to smoke up with Sacred. They need to get a play going here with the Mortimer Kisses. Otherwise, they're really going to start to fall behind a little bit here. And of course, that was with our PUs. That was a lot of timing, but Four Zoomers are finding objectives, and it's that gold spread around these heroes. I think Husky having this mech so early, though, it's very difficult for Thunder Awaken to actually finish off a lot of these kills. And Husky himself, he might be too vulnerable, but we'll have to see because this is not free.
Mego doesn't want to commit the fissure just yet. He's trying to hold for as long as he can, but he holds too long, and at that point they realize Husky isn't alone in this lane. They spotted Gunner. They will back themselves away, but that means they don't get anything, and just it's kind of hard to believe at this point. I mean, they got their blink on the Earthshaker. They've got Sacred level 6, and they're not really making any moves, but there's the big one. Costabile caught in the jungle, blink into Echo, and Husky get cleaned up here as well, I believe. So, well, okay, there is that move from Thunder Awaken. They took quite a long time to put it together, but they do get 2 big kills. The Medusa gets slowed up a bit, and considering Pakaz had been farming up that whole time, it looks like they're not back to even just yet, but starting to catch up. Hi, Z-Freak. He's just gonna... A little bit of scouting. Gunner's now coming in as well. RP and 8 if they could just hold on long enough. Okay. Jumping the gun just that little bit. Pakaz, though, now has to scale up the Sunder. Normally a situation where the Terrorblade would love to hold that for longer, but he is forced to use it. Now Gunner, he actually may get caught. Dark Mako and Panda are able to hit him up. He's going to go for the skewer. He pulled Dark Mako with him. Now he has to try for the RP, but it gets canceled out the first time. He does eventually get it off, but he is still in some serious trouble. They have to scramble to defend him. Dark Mako, though, has the blink. He can continue to chase. Will get into position. Gunner now stuck, going for the shockwave to try and save himself, but it won't be enough. Panda gets the kill. Meanwhile, Matthew gets in, drops the Doom onto the Nyx. Costabile, though, is now joining the fight. He's going to actually throw out the Stone Gaze as well. And I think that's enough to hold them at bay, but they may need to deny their Nyx Assassin. Yeah, Husky's able to take him down.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate there, but really, Thunder Awaken are catching their stride a little bit. Dark Mago's setting up for some very nice kills, and I think really this could be the start of something big because he's starting to get a lot of farm, and that's something that I think they choose this Terrorblade not only for the Medusa matchup, but also because Four Zoomers are pretty bad when it comes to looking for these illusions walking down the lanes, and well, Mu might have Sacred. I think these cores are maybe just a little bit too strong, but again, it's Panda running interference. The Ogre is always there in between, and now you lose your Centaur. Does everybody get out here? I can't imagine Thunder Awaken survive.
Kaz might want to go back in. You look at him, he's going to pop the meta. He's looking for a quick and easy target. Z-Freak is going to be the one. They'll take him down. Matthew, though, starting to drop a little bit low as well, but they still won't get him. Now they turn onto Mu. Mortimer Kisses are going to come out onto the other 3 heroes. The Four Zoomers, they just have to run. This is getting a little bit awkward for them. And look at Matthew. He is trying to bait them back in. Four Zoomers do not take that bait, though. They will back off. But what a play from Thunder Awaken. This is really fantastic for them. This is a little bit of what we saw from them in a lot of their other series. They are starting to now bait Four Zoomers into committing for those fights. They thought that they had Sacred alone. The 2 supports rush in. Pakaz waits in the wings. All of a sudden, Four Zoomers go from trying to find a quick and easy 2v1 into the middle of a team fight.
Yeah, and really, you can't highlight enough how good Sacred is on the Snapfire. He is so aware of how far the cookie's going to send him forward, what spells he could use to dodge it out. I think in being such a pesky Snapfire, he really creates a lot of these counter opportunities for Thunder Awaken to surge in, and hey, that was with Pakaz showing up. He was ready for the fight. He did so much damage there, and that's where, unfortunately for Z-Freak, he's great at finding alone heroes, but versus the illusion carry, there's not a lot he can do. And Pakaz, I mean, he is huge right now. He almost has a Scotty. Once he has that, I can only imagine Costabile is going to be looking to dodge, and I guess that's another reason why they went for this Terrorblade. You force this Medusa to go for a very different item build. You force the Medusa to look away from items like the Scotty. It's usually the Dragon Lance, Sanjin Yasha, like Costabile is going for, but that is an awkward position to play around, and not the full strength of the hero, but in doing so, you have to, because the Terrorblade has the reflection. You can't afford to kill your own team, or yourself for that matter, but I think that leaves a bigger opening for Thunder Awaken to play in. He's very killable with those items, and looking bottom, okay, maybe Z-Freak has the setup here. Matthew might be a little bit too comfortable, but this is a Medusa. They need one more.
Gunner's there. Okay, they'll get the kill. Gunner revealing the Blink Dagger. They do find the kill for the Dusa. Of course, it's a nice pickup Gunnar now having the blink, but you look on the other side of things, Sacred, he has a blink of his own, so yeah, he's going straight in for the play. He's got the blink, he wants the shard, and now this Snapfire goes from being annoying to just straight up being a threat with the extra damage and lockdown.
Yeah, and, well, Scotty's done on the TB. There isn't really an obvious objective for Four Zoomers to take next. They didn't use their RP before, so they want to find a fight. They would love to get something here in the mid lane. Moo also picked up a Blink Dagger as well. He did not go for the Echo Saber first like he's done in every other Tiny game, but Wu Panda, really tight.
Going to be able to catch him out. Dark Mago, he's thinking about it. There it is, the Echo coming out. RP will be deployed, but now with the Mortimer Kisses coming in, I don't know if they really want this engagement. Oh, okay. Well, they definitely want it. They go all in on a Dark Mago, and because, well, he didn't go in initially because of the Stone Gaze, but now he'll make his move. Costabile was not as tanky as he needed to be for the secondary engagement. That's a big kill for them. Does come at a cost, but the question now, do they look for more? Yeah, they're going to try for Matthew. They hit him up with the toss. Matthew, though, actually got the Doom off onto your mag. And look at Sacred jumping in, looking for the kill, trying to set Because up. They've got the right-click damage, they've got the Scotty, and they've got the kill.
Oh my goodness. For players playing on King, that is so tight on the Doom, and I catches Gunnar completely off guard. He thought he would have maybe a moment to rest in between his Shockwave and his Skewer, but because he doesn't do that instantly, he gets doomed, he dies. They might want to still fight around this tower here, but Lou is struggling to find an initiation, and now Sacred is right where he wants to be, and I think Siegfried's just dead.
Yep, Siegfried down, Because with another kill, not even having the meta at this point. It wore off, but he's still in there for the damage, and if you're Four Zoomers, now might be the time to start cutting your losses. You do have Costabile back in, that's good, but you've lost too much ground here. Multiple heroes, tier 1 tower taken, and you know, all of that initially looked okay. Dark Mago kind of looked like he had jumped the gun. He blinks in, gets the Echo Slam, but then is all alone as they try to sort of collapse onto him. But once again, Thunder Awaken, even when it sort of doesn't look like it, they sort of bait you in, because while Dark Mago went in, nobody else sort of jumped. They waited, bided their time, Stone Gaze gets popped, and then they push in afterwards.
Yeah, and Costabile is just the easiest kill in the world. He ate all of those kisses, more or less, and I think now we do have a very big problem. The game is even. Your early game lead is more or less done, and now finding a way for this Chen to feel useful is the new name of the game, because unfortunately, his creeps are just something else for Because to farm whenever they do show up in the lane, or it's another target for Dark Mago to find another Aftershock on. It does feel like that easy advantage they get from having such a farmed hero early on. This mech timing, it doesn't feel nearly as strong. And I think really Doomsday for Zoomers right now is once Because gets an item, I think, built up next, whether it's the Daedalus or the Satanic, that could be a huge problem for them. Maybe even just the BKB to be safe, even though BKB versus Magnus doesn't really do a thing. It does stop anything else coming out. Then he's surely unkillable. But, okay, they might go into Roche. They're going to kill the Mud Golem, and, well, this is a huge forcing play. You have to come here, but this is so fast. They pop the meta. This is business right now. Thunder Awaken are not waiting around.
Yeah, and at this point, Four Zoomers are too far. Costabile is going to try and take the tier 2 bot, so at least they can make it a trade-off of some sort, but, well, you mentioned sort of Doomsday would be Because getting another item. The Aegis, it's temporary, but that might just be enough for them to push in. You see the immediate TPs onto the outpost. Matthew, meanwhile, actually TP'd in here. He's going to act as the bait. They're going to try to go for him, but there's the Echo coming out. Medusa locked down. That Hand of God does absolutely nothing. Costabile is still dead. Moo taken down as well. They're going to now track onto Z-Freak, tracking him through the tree line. They'll get the kill pretty easily as Because cleans it up. And Four Zoomers, I don't know. You're not going to get to the Roche Pit in time. Okay, you accept that. You come to terms with that. Let's get a tier 2 tower. Fine. But you need to get it, and you need to take it quickly, because half the TPs come onto the outpost, the other half are onto that tier 2, and at that point, the alarms need to start ringing in your head. The only reason you're TPing heroes onto that tower is if you're looking for a fight. They don't react in time, and they get kind of blown up.
Yeah, and really just knocking the Stone Gaze off before the Doom, it's still just really quick in from Matthew, and that is without him having a Blink Dagger. That's just with him playing around the tree line, just being very smart and walking in, and well, now you have a very big problem if you're Four Zoomers here. You need to somehow get Because away from the rest of the team. They need to find a way to split him up here. because right now Picaz is spearheading. He is your frontliner. He is walking in front of everyone, and they have an opportunity onto Sacred here, but nobody can capitalize off it. And Costabile,
Yep. They
well,
gotta be able to get him out. He does have the Stone Gaze, but he's gonna get stunned up first. Picaz trying to go to work. Now the Stone Gaze comes out. Picaz is gonna start to drop low, but he doesn't really care. That might be a problem, though. The RP comes in. Big play from Gunner. They need the follow-up damage, though. Can they get it? No, they can't. Costabile falls. Picaz pops the Sunder, and it's all gonna fall apart. They get a kill onto Matthew ET, and that's it.
yeah, they can't call it. They know that it's over if they do, but it feels really hard for Four Zoomers to fight now, and I don't want to say the game is over, but that's what happens when you give just a little bit of an advantage to Thunder Awaken. They don't play carefully enough, and now because he's got a Sanjin Yashi, he's got an Eye of Scotty. It's 22 minutes into the game. What do you do to kill this Terrorblade? We need to find him with some crazy play on his Aegis timing out. Otherwise, I don't know if they kill him after the next item, whether that's a BKB or a Satanic. The damage is just not there. They need more time. They need anything. And unfortunately, looking over at Costabile, he's looking for the Scotty. The problem is, once he gets it, well, he's going to kill himself. He's going to just immediately eat away at himself with the reflection. And unfortunately, you look for items like the BKB, like the Butterfly, to make this matchup feel more even, but Costabile isn't even in the same field as this
Oh,
TV.
look at the timing!
Fountain.
No Sunder available, so he may just have to eat the Aegis, but look at Dark Mago in for the blink. He popped the BKB as well. They're not going to be able to stop him as Husky will fall. Because, though, he's still not dead. They'll finally bring him down, but look at everything that they had to sacrifice. The Doom was thrown onto the Medusa, so you are going to be losing that Medusa, but they get the Skewer, pulling Because back in. They actually pulled Matthew as well, so this could work out nicely for them, but he purchased the Ghost Scepter, able to walk himself out. They'll now turn around looking for the fight. Sacred stuns up too. Gunner dropping low. Moo, once again, looking for that toss play. Still not enough. Because needs a Sunder. He gets it off in time, but they'll still skewer him back in because the man just can't get away. They take so many opportunities there, but finally they will bring him down. Dark Mago will fall, and Panda's gonna die as well. But for Zoomers, how many times did they need the toss back, the skewer, everything thrown out? But listen, ET, Tier 3 didn't go down. Rack's still standing. So, I mean,
we're in it.
Yeah.
It's not over.
There's still hope.
Over. Before Zoomers actually do the crazy play, and that is the funniest thing ever because there was no way to kill him. So they bring him to the fountain. The fountain's the way they kill him. They bring him the only place where he can die, and they finally get it. And sure, an overextension, a great Echo Slam in from Dark Mago, and I think for Zoomers a sigh of relief. They get a little bit of farming time across the board here, but it's still, that was Doomsday. That was the end right there. If they don't make that play, if they don't have that buyback coming in from Gunner, the game is surely looking grim after that, but hey, we've got a game of Dota on our hands.
There is now hope where before it was looking like we were really running down to the final attempt or two, and now for Because, initially this Ghost Scepter seemed like a good idea. Now he's just kind of got one casually, so meh. He's the highest net worth hero in the game, so I don't think it's going to matter too much. You see him just queuing up that Satanic as his next item, but didn't really get much out of it as Sacred is now going to get picked off. They're not able to reach him in time. And for Zoomers, starting to maybe get a little bit going here. And yeah, if you're Thunder Awaken, it's time to try and reset this. Get everybody back together. Don't give up any further pickoffs. Although, as I say, that Panda is going to get jumped in on, tossed back. He is pretty tanky, though. They're not going to take him down easily, but looks like the rest of Thunder Awaken will just sort of have to leave him behind.
Yeah, and that's where the next item didn't come out from the just yet. He had to buy this Ghost Scepter to try and survive being in the fountain, and well, now Thunder Awaken's easy victory is kind of gone, and Sacred, he doesn't have his BKB yet, so that's why he goes down. They really are looking for this fight, though. This is a 2v5.
Matthew gets taken down. Because, though, activated the meta, so to a certain extent, they might feel a little bit obligated to try for something, but Moo looking to play in onto Dark Mago. Unfortunately, the BKB comes out first. Now they'll turn. Moo taken down. Mortimer Kisses flying through. Should be canceled by Z-Freak, although he didn't actually... he did actually get this by Carapace off, but now Costabile, he lost the shield. He's dropping low. Dark Mago's in, going for the Echo Slam. Not enough damage to kill him just yet, but that's only because is trying to pick off the supports, make sure that they isolate that Dusa, and they will get the kill. Costabile will fall, and now everyone else has to bail. Gunner is going to try to get away. Sacred giving chase, blinks forward. Better blink from Gunner, creating the separation, while Dark Mago, he dies to the Vendetta. Okay, Z-Freak, nice play in there, but they still have to get Gunnar out of this engagement. Not sure if they're going to be able to do so. He commits an RP solo onto Sacred. Will look for the TP home now. And, well, that RP actually bought him the time. The Scatter Blast doesn't come out, and, well, that makes that look so much better. You get Gunnar away. You find a pickoff onto a very low HP Earthshaker just kind of hanging out in no man's land, and, well, you lose a little bit of that momentum with Costabile dying, but it's not the end of the world. Your Deuce is going to come back up before there's any push onto the four zoomer side of the map.
Yeah, and really to feel how more confident four zoomers are in this game, that fight, even though it doesn't maybe spin in the best situation, your Medusa's not really farming anymore after the fact. Now he gets a little bit of time, but that's on Radiant ground. That's on the absolute other side of the base. Their towers aren't under any threat. That's them feeling confident enough to take a fight out of the base. And that really is the big difference, because before, they were stuck. They were stuck on their high ground. They were stuck waiting for a mistake. And I think that's where, unfortunately, Bakaz is looking for the Satanic, and that is a very big, very annoying item that they're going to have to deal with. But he is also committed for this item. I think if Costabile now gets a little bit of space to farm, still wish that maybe he went for the Manta style instead. Usually you just go for the Manta and then hope that you can work around the rest of the matchup. But I think once he looks at an item possibly like the Butterfly, this Medusa is going to feel a whole lot stronger. Even a BKB after the Scotty just feels awkward still for the Medusa to have to deal with this problem, but it's where maybe the rest of his team can really make the difference. And there are big items in queue for a lot of these heroes, namely double BKB on both the Tiny and the Magnus. This game is now far from over. I think Thunder Awaken gave away their easy victory. Now we kind of have to play. And look, D-Freak's got a Dagon. He's ready to look for a kill on his own.
Oh, been a while since this build has really been allowed to happen. So, as you said, he might be able to find the pickoffs now. But on the other side of things, Thunder Awaken, 5-man smoke. Pops immediately on the high ground, though, and Moo's able to blink away. So, well, they don't find what they wanted. They can try and take control of this cliff, though, but with Costabile coming over, this is going to get a little bit risky. That Dusa, though, you need to be careful yourself. He's going to pop the Stone Gaze, but the Doom has been applied to him. How much further do they want to go, though? Mortimer Kiss is coming in. Dark Mango blinks forward, drops down the Echo Slam. Didn't hit onto the Dusa, but they get Moo and Z-Freak. Should be able to clean both of them up. And now the Fissure actually hits Costabile from long range, so they might be able to keep chasing, but they actually didn't kill Moo as quickly as I thought they did. They'll clean him up now, but that buys a couple extra seconds, and your Medusa is able to fall back. But Thunder Awaken, well, they find the kill. They take the tower. They're going to now look to force their way onto the high ground. Buyback status is not great for four zoomers, so they've got one on Moo. The other one is in the hands of the Chen, so they're going to have to try and just buy some time. The Glyph will help, but that tier 3 tower is still just getting chunked through. But Gunnar jumps in, gets the RP into the skewer, pulling all of them back. But can they actually take this fight? That's going to be the problem. Costabile is doing a lot of damage. They've taken down 3, and Bakaz is now all alone. He's not going to be able to survive. Gunnar just, once again, sort of saves the game. And Bakaz, okay, I mean, he's going to buy some time here with the lifesteal, but should not be enough to actually save him from the death.
Oh my goodness. Gunnar is just carrying his team. That's it. There's no two ways about it. He hits a 4-man RP, and it's so close. If the Snapfire hits him with the Scatterblast, and the reason it's a 4-man RP is because there is the blink-in from Snapfire. If that doesn't go off, if you just get cut there, this game looks very different. If Gunnar gets stunned before the skewer is actually able to go off, this is a much stranger game, a much really over game for four zoomers. And that's also where, hey, Aegis on Costabile, what more buffer could you really need? And even though it's expensive, it's another buyback. One buyback, a high ground defense, and all of your cores get to farm? This is just crazy for me. Gunnar is just absolutely keeping his team in it, and now, here's your Aegis. Now Costabile doesn't need to be worried about those long fights anymore.
Gets the Aegis, gets the Shard as well, so he's got that cold-blooded online, and it's going to make it a little bit harder for some of these heroes to get in here, especially someone like Matthew. We saw him go for that sort of push forward for the Doom. He just has to really go all out and just throw the Doom out there, because if he tries for anything else, then he's going to get hit up by that Shard, and then, well, it could slow him up enough to prevent him from really going for that spell, so see how Thunder Awaken look to take this. Their net worth lead basically reset at this point, but they do still have Bakaz, and the good news if you're Thunder Awaken is the fact that these 2 times where you've been held at bay, one was 3 skewers into the fountain and a couple of toss plays. The other one was a 4-man RP catching you off guard. So if you're Thunder Awaken, I think maybe you can sort of push forward and think, we made a mistake, we got caught off guard. If we avoid that in the future, we should be okay. But the problem is you were sort of hoping for a scenario where you didn't need to worry about that in the first place, as they were trying to push the high ground. Now this smoke play is going to break up, but Picasso still wants to go in. Gotta be a little bit careful, though. Doesn't have a BKB or anything along those lines, but look at Sacred just pushing his way forward, trying to be the distraction, but this is not a fight that they want. They're in too late, and okay. I thought Sacred was going to be the distraction to try and get maybe someone like Dark Mago in, but Dark Mago doesn't actually commit, and they have no choice but to fall back.
Yeah, and now for Zoomers, they've got 3 cores. They're the team that probably scales better than you, even though it feels strange to say with a 4 Doom on the opposing side, but we're not really seeing those clean fights anymore. And I think that's where really Thunder Awaken, they want to continue to be aggressive. They want to still take the map away from their enemies, but their enemies, they had an Aegis. They still have an Aegis. It just doesn't have the effect because he's smoked up right now. But now you've got a DD Medusa in the river. If Gunnar finds any aggressive RP, his RPs have been so clinched when it comes to defending the high ground. Now it's their turn to be the aggressor here. The tier 2s are cut off. They still have to deal with these TB illusions pushing out those waves. But as long as Gunnar has the spell, they can continue to look for these fights. At the same time, if Thunder Awaken ever find Gunnar, the game might just end, because he is not playing with his buyback, neither is the Tiny. It's where I don't think Thunder Awaken are necessarily looking to Megas their opponents. They just want to look for the win. But unfortunately, without Sacred, there really isn't an opportunity. We're probably going to see another smoke up from them, though. They still feel like they're strong, but unless Dark Mago is happy enough with the jump, they don't get it. And, well, they see 2 cores, but they need to get this ward. And if 4 Zoomers retreat to the high ground vision, this is going to look like a very messy fight.
There's going to be the initial stun connecting onto 2. Matthew, meanwhile, rotates around the back line. Picasso's going to try to get in here as well, but this is just too broken. They're already going to lose Matthew. Picasso just wants out, and Thunder Awaken have to fall back.
Yeah, again, and Gunnar... Oh, he canceled his blink. Sacred might be caught. Oh.
Sacred at least able to get back there, but that just doesn't really work. As you said, they break too soon. The high ground ward gets 4 Zoomers all the vision that they needed, and well, I mean, Matthew was still trying to make his play, right? Getting around the back side there, but once the other side, the other half of that pincer gets sort of spotted out, you go from trying to sneak around the back to suddenly just being the only person in the line of fire. 4 Zoomers take him down. Now they're going to push onto the tier 2, and they still got a minute and a half on this Aegis, so they could, honestly, at this point, maybe try to poke around at the high ground.
Yeah, and, well, honestly, 4 Zoomers are in a great spot going forward. They've really fixed the problem. They stopped the bleeding, then unless Thunder Awaken get a great initiation, something on the level that Gunnar was putting out onto you, then the game is going to freeze, and freeze with 4 Zoomers taking away your entire map. And unfortunately for Thunder Awaken, they're only farming with these TB illusions. It's the only thing leaving the base right now. Everyone else is just way too scared, and this could be the 3rd smoke for them, but this is their last smoke. This is a conversation they're having right now. If they go for this play and it immediately gets scouted out, it gets popped by a Nyx Assassin or a Chen, then they don't have anything for the next 5 minutes. This is a very tense moment and a very big decision for them to make. It's why they just don't immediately send it, but okay. This is their opportunity. They could maybe make the play. The Aegis is breaking in 30 seconds here, but they pop too early. This is a wash. Then suddenly they are stuck in their base for the next smoke. This is a very high tense play. They need to find their way onto the back line. Picasso did just pick up his BKB though, so he's not worried about getting stunned up. At the same time, this is a very long wrap. They got the bottom cliff. Will they be able to find their way? But Z-Freak, he's already here trying to break the smoke. And he breaks.
There it is. They broke it. Aegis, though, timing out in 2 seconds, so they've got to be careful on this, because Dark Mago, he's winding up. Do they commit? Do they have the vision? Oh, they got the stun onto the Z-Freak. Now they'll drop the Doom in onto the Medusa. They are going to try and make the move. Kostablik getting that Mana Shield burned through. Hand of God coming out. Not enough. Dark Mago getting involved now. They're going to go straight onto the Medusa. They've got the kill. But over to the west. Move. Still trying to hold with Gunnar. They're going to drop down the RP. That's enough to take down Matthew and Sacred. But they need to deal with the rest of the lineup right now. Dark Mago stunning up Moo. Kaz, meanwhile, does go after Z-Freak, just looking to finish that one off. But now they've got to deal with Gunnar. But it's a Gunnar without RP. He wanted to kill onto Panda. Not going to be able to... Never mind. He doesn't get it. Husky gets it. But now Dark Mago, he found another target. Comes in, drops the ult, finishes off the Chen. And ET, Thunder Awaken, they did it. It cost them a hell of a lot. 3 heroes dead, but they take the fight. They alleviate that pressure. Their high ground will remain safe, and it's not enough to really say that they're definitively back in control, but Zoomer's initial momentum gets a little bit broken up.
Yeah, and I really think it comes back to Matthew. It's just Dark Mego and Matthew finding that Doom onto the Medusa. There's no Force Staff. There's no way to move that Medusa, and maybe that's where you look at the Dagon and you wonder if that could have been a more defensive item, but well, that's your glyph. Bakaz is terrified. He knows there's no RP, but there is still that threat of Gunnar buying back, you getting stuck in the fountain. I'm sure Bakaz is going to have nightmares about that for a while, but this is also a job that Bakaz can do by himself. He's very tanky. He's a big threat. He does need to stick around to finish it, but does he get it with his illusion? Oh, perfectly timed.
Just barely, but they got it. Dark Mego was even pushing forward just in case, and if you look at Dark Mego, he got himself the Ags. So you have the single most annoying variant of the Earthshaker that could possibly exist. He's got a Blink, he's got an Ags, he's got the Shard, and he actually does damage as a core instead of a support. So your 4 Zoomers, you were already sort of having an issue with this, especially Costable. This is the thing I loved about that last fight. They stun up the Medusa, but they don't immediately just all bum rush in. They drop the Doom. They wait until Bakaz can sort of start right-clicking, and then when the Medusa's attention is on the TB, that's when the Earthshaker sort of makes his move and gets in for the damage.
Yeah, and it's also where the game is going to reset a little bit here. For Zoomers, they need to get their way onto the Roche pit. They had such a good position, but the other issue is that there wasn't an opportunity for that Magnus to really find anything. It was just a little bit too split apart. It was a huge collapse. I mean, Bakaz in that fight split off from the main group just to kill Z-Freak because he knows that the only way he dies is if this Nyx Assassin can get his spells off and keep him away after the BKB goes down. But that's also where, unfortunately for 4 Zoomers, the game is very scary outside of the base still. The high ground, it's very easy to play versus an opponent pushing into you, but when you have to find it really freeform and in a lot of cases without vision, the initiation is very, very difficult and very fast Roche timer. So we are going to see probably the end of the game spell out here as Dark Mego. Oh no!
He baited him. He's going to activate the BKB. They'll try and turn around. Hand of God, though, will come through. So 4 Zoomers, they feel like they just need to take this fight, but they've got to be careful. Matthew's going to look for the Doom. Bakaz, meanwhile, getting in, trying to do some damage, but the Stone Gaze actually locks him down, but now they get that fissure out. Costable going to get stunned up. Panda's coming in as well, but there's the RP connecting from Gunnar. Can they get the Terror Blade? Bakaz is still holding his ground. He still wants to go in onto the Medusa, even force-staffing himself forward so he can stay in attack range, and they've got it. Costable is going to get taken down. Husky now stunned up and finished off. Dark Mego blinks in, throws out the Echo Slam. Moo doing his best to fight his way through this, but he needs backup. There's just no one here, though. Gunnar, unfortunately, just revealed himself with the Shockwave, so he needs to run. He's going to TP himself home. That will allow him to escape, but well, these fights are getting more and more complicated for Zoomers, and the longer it goes on, the less safe the Medusa is. As Thunder Awaken, they take the fight. There is a buyback that they have to use on Matthew, but overall, they are going to be able to take that one pretty decisively, and now that short Roche timer comes into play.
Yeah, there isn't going to be a response coming in from 4 Zoomers. This is going to be an Aegis. It's a Refresher Shard. It's not the Ags that maybe Bakaz was looking for earlier on in the game, but still, it's a huge win for them. And that was a win that 4 Zoomers had all of the vision. They got the RP. They just didn't have enough mana on Costable, and unfortunately, at this stage of the game, he still does not do very much damage, and it's where Bakaz really is coming into his own here. You see him just scaling up so hard when it comes to his net worth. He's looking for a Swift Blink. I don't even know what he slots out. I guess the Aegis once that gets used, but even then, everything is starting to stack up against 4 Zoomers, and I think that's where Gunnar is getting forced to look for those RPs earlier and earlier, and it's where the complexity of these fights growing. We're not even seeing a Doom coming in from Matthew. Matthew is looking for the Medusa every single time, and in doing so, sometimes paying with his life, but Gunnar should have a free time. It's just the scope and how long range these spells are. All the time they get Sacred just because he's giving vision for his Terrorblade to actually do damage, but in doing so, the Medusa's a non-factor, and with how early that Stone Gaze was used, they need to hold just a little bit longer. They need to find that opening yet again from Gunnar, but it's all of the pressure on the Magnus. If he finds nothing, they just lose the fight.
Yeah, they need so much now because it's the RP, but it's got to be the RP in the right spot at the right time, because we saw in that last fight, Oh, it connected. It was nice. It was big, but it wasn't enough to kill off the heroes that needed to be killed. So we're going to have that concern really moving forward, is because he bought and ate his Aghanim Scepter. So now with the Terror Wave out, this is going to get even more complex for Four Zoomers, because do you activate your BKBs to try and dodge out that wave? Do you hold and try to activate them afterwards and see if you can survive, you know, the couple of seconds that it's going to be pushing you back?
And the truth of the matter is, there's no good solution. There's no way to really appropriate what you're supposed to do, and that's where I think finding their next set of spells, and really it is the next set of spells that for Four Zoomers decide this game. If they get caught without their RP, this Refresher is a little bit too far away for the Magnus. The same with the Stone Gaze. If they get a force out of Postabile where he's a little bit off the ground, then that's kind of going to be it. And Postabile actually disassembles his Dragon Lance to finish off the Aghanim Scepter, so he maybe has just anything to throw out. Unfortunately, Husky is trying to do his job. That's the Terror Wave. It's a very cheap cost, and sure, because gets the kill, and now it's on cooldown for 80 seconds, but it's where you feel the gates closing in a little bit here. And even though they're getting a little bit of net worth, don't think any item they're going to be picking up bottom lane is going to change the game all too much. The question really is whether Thunder Awaken rush it and go now, and they might actually go with this DD rune, especially, yep, pass the bottle over. So because is going to be looking up at the high ground. How Four Zoomers use these spells, it's going to be really the next stage of this game, because we're probably going to go to 60 minutes if Four Zoomers win this next fight. If not, the game could just be over.
It is getting pretty damn tense here. Four Zoomers recognizing that they are running out of room, running out of time to make mistakes. Need to try and do something here, and you do see Z-Freak. I mean, he's still trying to prowl around, see if he can maybe find someone farming, find a courier, but the longer this game goes on, the more this Dagon sort of just feels like it wasn't a great decision. At the time, it seemed okay, but, well, we talk about this a lot with Thunder Awaken, right? They itemize for where they want to be, not always where they are, whereas a Dagon build for the Nyx very much seems like itemizing for where he was at that particular moment.
Yeah, and, well, there we go. Hakan's onto the high ground. This tower is very low. Unfortunately, Postabile, he needs a Lotus Orb, he needs something, otherwise that's a lot of mana taken out, and that's where I honestly do wonder what the new Medusa, not having that level 20 talent to give you that easy mana back, what that does to you. And Gunnar, he loved to get because
the horn toss into the skewer. They did activate the Terror Wave, though, and look at that stun. It actually hits Gunnar up, so he's not going to be able to immediately follow it, but they want Costabile. They want to get onto that Dusa. They've hit him up with the Doom. They're going to be able to find the kill. No buyback available on that Medusa. He spent all of his money. That might be the end of it. There's no RP. There's no Medusa coming back in. Thunder Awaken will quickly realize that, and they're going to look to just close this one out, pushing their way forward. Sacred dies, buys back immediately. Meanwhile, Panda going to be able to use the Stormcrafter to avoid that skewer play. And yeah, Four Zoomers, I don't really think you can go for the cutesy plays now. You have to be front and center to defend as Gunnar tries to get off the horn toss, but he's stunned before he can get the skewer to follow it. And this is just falling apart. They'll finally take down Dark Mago, but they need to be able to get because that's the big one. They're not dealing with him right now. They're starting to lose heroes as Gunnar will fall. Moves stunned up, dropped low. Can he do anything at this point? Not really. And now Gunnar's buyback. I don't really think this is going to matter. He's going to get stunned up. Meanwhile, the Ancient dropping 250 HP. Just hit it once or twice. Matthew is trying to close it out, and that is going to do it. The GG was called either way. And Thunder Awaken, well, they had to work for it, but they do close it out. They get that third and final victory, and they are Pro Series 10 champions, ET.
yeah, and 4 games dropped. That's all it took. That's all anybody was able to do. This team was clearly the best from the start. Of course, we all were surprised when they took their first stumble, but going forward here, they really showed why they are those mainstays, those contenders, those major players, and I think that really was what this game and what this series was about. I think to a certain extent, the drafting, the experience, all of the hero picks that they were able to get for them, they just had the most concise, the best ideas. And albeit not the newest ideas, they were definitely playing in the past a little bit when it came to some of their strategies. They really showed why they are just simply better than opponents. And I think for Zoomers, they give it a great shot. You have to praise Gunnar. Gunner's the only reason they're in the position they're in. But unfortunately, he can't do it all. Even early on, they take their early stumble. They had such an early good lead. Husky was really off to the races with his build, but it's where, unfortunately, those stumbles end up in you losing games. And I think Four Zoomers maybe a little upset with themselves when it came to that IO Gyro drafted game too. Maybe if they had a little bit more wiggle room, they could have pulled something out versus Thunder Awaken, but that's where you don't get second tries. You don't get to play through your mistakes here. Thunder Awaken will take everything in the bag, and that's what they got. They got everything.
They had to honestly sort of play it very patiently as we pull up the graphs here on this one, because you can see for Zoomers, they had the lead around that 20-minute mark. Normally the time where Thunder Awaken are used to being in full control. They had to fight back from that, built up a lead that they then threw away, had to reset again. But, well, the execution's too strong. It seems like an oversimplification to just sort of lay this on, you know, Pakaz's Terrorblade. 16, 2, and 17 is an impressive stat line, but he does not get the opportunity to dish out that damage onto the targets they needed if not for the rest of the lineup. The amount of lockdown they could contribute. Matthew on this Doom, continuously getting Dooms on the Dusa. He does end up with a Blink Dagger eventually, but I think he played really the entire first half of that match without one and was still able to throw that ult down pretty consistently.
Yeah, and that's where Thunder Awaken, as soon as they start lacking something, they have something to go in its way. As soon as Sacred is not finding the initiations, then Dark Mago's getting the crazy fissures. And then they just keep on giving and taking between those teammates. And then it just feels like there's never a hole. There's never an opportunity. Getting Pakaz into the fountain was a pretty good try, but aside from that, it does feel like when you look at the graph as well, especially with that win probability, every death of Pakaz is that jump. It's that leap forward that you feel like you can maybe take that advantage. Unfortunately, Pakaz only had 2 deaths, because maybe if he had a few more, Four Zoomers could have posted anything up, but it's also just not even their fault. Once they get out of that, I want to say pump, once they're out of the base and it feels like they can make those fights and really string something together, it's just maybe too little too late. And it's where you're under so much pressure, you're under so much, I want to say fatigue, because Four Zoomers have been playing all day. They've been playing since 4 p.m. That suddenly you get your 4-man RP, you don't find the next RP, you don't find the next initiation, and then the pressure just cracks.
Yeah. And we mentioned earlier in the series, you don't ever want fatigue to sort of be a factor, but you can't necessarily avoid it. I mean, hell, ET, I'm tired, and we were just casting, let alone actually playing in those games. So Four Zoomers still got to show a lot of respect to them. They fought, and they won a match in this series where I think a lot of other teams might not have, because Thunder Awaken, as you said, they dropped 4 games in total. They only lost to 2 different teams. So I know that's not really going to be what Four Zoomers want to hear, but the fact that they made this go to 4 games at all is still pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's kudos to them. And of course, you saw their problems. They definitely had issues, but they still tried anything versus Thunder Awaken. And we all knew that, I think, Thunder Awaken were going to be the big dogs here. It was definitely a little bit of an underdog story coming in from Four Zoomers. But it does leave me wondering, was this what Panda Boo was talking about? Was this it? Or does Thunder Awaken have a surprise for us coming into SADPC? I can't wait to find out.
You know, ET, we're going to potentially get an answer to that question, because we were not just stalling because we love the sound of our own voices, despite what some people may tell you. We are stalling because we do actually have an interview, and it is going to be Panda that we're going to be speaking with again. So we can just straight up ask him if this was the plan that they had in their back pocket. We are trying to get him in here and ready to go, so we'll be stepping away for just a little bit while I set things up camera-wise, and we'll be back with that winner's interview with Panda in just a moment. So stick around. You don't want to miss us picking Panda's brain a little bit. Okay, there we go. Hello, everybody. We are back one last time here for our winner's interview. We have Panda front and center once again. This time, though, he comes to us as Pro Series 10 champions. Panda, before we start grilling you with all of our hot, intense questions, congratulations on the victory and being champions of Pro Series 10.
Thank you. 3 times now.
That's right, 3 times, and 3 times in a row, too. You guys are just basically unstoppable. So, okay, first question, because ET and I were joking about it a little bit. The last time we talked to you, you mentioned you guys had some things sort of still up your sleeves, still saving some stuff in the tank. Was this it? Was it running a Matthew position 4 Doom that you were talking about a couple of days ago?
No, it was supposed to be one of my heroes, and I'm still not allowed to play it for some reason. I was asking for a game 5 so I could play it. It didn't happen.
So you still had strats saved, even at the end of all of
Well,
that.
hey, so it's a 5 hero, is what he's
Yeah.
saying. It's his hero, so
Right.
I mean, okay.
But yeah, I do want to ask you, sort of going back a little bit, back to game 3. Your opponents sort of pull out this Io gyrocopter combination that you were able to mostly sort of play your way through. ET and I were mentioning at the time that felt like a play for Zoomers were trying to make to maybe not just win the game, but also maybe affect your mindset moving into later games ban-wise. Obviously, beating it makes it a little bit less threatening, but was that a consideration when they pull that out? Do you start thinking differently with your bans, or were you just full steam ahead with what had been working?
We knew they were gonna pick the IO at some point in
Mhm.
this turn in this series, so we just prepared. I mean, we only lost a second game because we focused about too much. We focused too much about the tiny, trying to counter it, not playing, not thinking about us. Like we want to play our comfort. Like we don't care about what they play. We want to play synergies, stuff like that. Yeah, we started doing that again in the other games, and it went better, I think.
Agreed.
But yeah, I don't want to keep you for too long here, especially after you take that series. So that's all I had. I'll hand it over to ET at this point, and we'll try and get you out of here pretty quickly.
Really, the only thing I have to ask is, how do you do it 3 times in a row? Of course, almost 4 times in a row. I remember BTS Pro Series 7 where you guys got unfortunately reverse swept versus what was currently Team Undying. But how do you guys consistently just stay so on top of things, so good? Of course, a lot of people always favor you guys now coming into these tournaments. A little bit of a history at this point, but what do you guys think personally sets you aside from the group, and especially you? You've been with every roster. You've been there, even though you have swapped up some players. It's always been you.
We just enjoy playing the tournament. It's I don't know. We just enjoy playing it, practice on the tournament. We get better playing it. It's fun. For me, it's really fun to play the tournament. Like any tournament I can play, I wanna play it.
And
There,
I
as long
mean,
as there are any good teams to practice with.
well, and I was gonna say, so now maybe don't want to get ahead of myself, but looking at BTS Pro Series 11, would you want to see, maybe an EG appearance, maybe a Quincy? I was gutted whenever Quincy didn't
I
show up.
wanted Quincy to show up in this tournament.
I
Actually,
know, I know,
I
I
know.
wanted Quincy
I
too,
was really
but
disappointed when they left the tournament.
yeah, because those are your games, right? Those are your scrims that some people
Yeah,
say.
yeah. Those are the real streams. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll play season 11. Maybe not. We could be at the major when the
Yeah.
season 11 is happening. So who knows?
Yeah, and I mean, it's been a while, right? Since you guys have been at a major, but that's why you guys own here, right? There's nobody to stop you when you're playing at home.
Yeah, as long as Biscos isn't playing here.
Yeah. That's the kryptonite right there. No Beast Coast, but everyone else, wipe the floor with them.
Yeah, for now.
Well, Panda, thank you for talking with us again. Appreciate you really coming multiple times now. I know our questions sort of run thin at that point, but congratulations.
I wanna thank the fans, my family, and my girlfriend. They always support me. I'm having getting like more positive support lately, and I really appreciate that. So thank you guys. That's all I have to say.
For the fans, keep winning, Panda Boo, the crowd favorite, the hero.
Yeah.
Family, fans, girlfriend, all the groups that you need to keep happy. So, Panda, thank you again. Congratulations again, and good luck. The pro circuit coming up. Hope you guys can be just as dominant.
Okay, thank you. See you next season.
check this out, you guys. Check this out. Ready? You ready for it? I was ready for the... No, I wasn't. I wasn't ready for the transition. I messed everything up. Hi, we're not in the right spots. Boop. There you go. That's a little bit better. I was so damn confident, and then I ruined the whole thing. But hi, we're back again. Thank you to Panda for speaking with us. Again, for the third time, but probably a lot easier to come and speak with us off the back of now finally closing out this run. They lose 4 games total. That's it across the entirety of the event. 3rd straight title for Panda and the boys as well. So, I mean, what more can be said? Thunder Awaken were just the favorites for a reason, and they stomp all over everyone.
Yeah, and was it Dazzle? Was it Warlock? Was it the Visage? You know, there's a world out there where that game 5 gets played, and maybe we get a little bit of a taste of what
Wanna know,
is
man.
going to happen in SADPC. But like we always say with this tournament, stakes are completely different. The NA and SA squads will say goodbye to each other. They get to move on to their own regions, and now everybody's looking forward towards DPC. Everybody's looking to see who's going to qualify towards that major. It's always the next stage. You're never looking for just this tournament. It's always going to be what's next.
Right, always got to be looking to that horizon, and for Thunder Awaken, well, the horizon is back to SA for a chance to, well, continue beating up on some of the other teams, but as we were sort of alluding to with Panda, want to take down Beast Coast. They've been the top dog in that region for a long time, and it's been well-deserved, but nobody stays on top forever. No empire is eternal, and this Thunder Awaken squad, I think, stand the best chance of maybe taking that crown away from Beast Coast.
Yeah, I just want to see it happen. That's all I want to do. I want to see it happen.
Well, we shall see. Pro Circuit coming up. But for now, for Pro Series 10, we are done. ET and I going to be hopping on out of here one final time. So, ET, give you a chance for some closing thoughts here before we say goodbye to the people.
No.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Fair enough. Goodbye. Closing
Good night,
thought is, what are you guys doing
I'll
here?
catch you guys in the
Get outta
DPC.
here.
Probably not. Probably on our stream. Yeah, you know, it's after the credits. You know, there's no reason to go. There's no reason for me to plug myself either. You know where to find me. You know who I am. It's been fun. It's been a pleasure. I'll catch you guys next time.
Yeah, this ain't no Marvel movie, no post-credit scene here. But one last time, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the Dota. Hope you enjoyed our casting as well. And we will see you next time on Beyond the Summit. Have a good night.